Paratopic is a weird game about... what is it about? I don't even know how to briefly describe this game. Okay, let's start from afar. While wandering around the back alleys of Steam with cheap indie horror games, I noticed one interesting game, Paratopic. The first thing that caught my attention was the game's title. It reminded me of something, but I couldn't figure out what exactly it was. Also, the visual style of the game, which is a mixture of a PlayStation 1 game, a VHS tape video, and swamp water, got me interested. So, what is this game about? Paratopic tells a story about three characters. A smuggler, who smuggles tapes across the border, a hitman, who has to kill this man, and a hiker, who likes taking pictures of birds. The narration in this game is very non-linear. You can never be sure who you are playing as, or when you are playing. You can't even be sure about the quantity of the playable characters, unless you read the Steam description. Snippets of stories change from one to another instantly. You talk to the cashier, say goodbye to him, and then you immediately find yourself on the side of the road, next to a car with a camera in it. You pick up the camera, and it's daytime now. You walk towards the forest, and then immediately you are teleported deep into it. You are walking through the forest, and all of a sudden you are driving a car. Smart people in the Steam reviews say that the game is reminiscent of Lynch's movies, and as someone who has seen a whole Mulholland Drive from his filmography, I can state that, well, yeah, it looks like a Lynch's movie. By the way, am I the only one who has the impression that Mulholland Drive is like Jacob's Ladder but kind of vice versa? I would also like to go a little deeper into the style of this game. To recap what I said earlier, style of the game, which is a mixture of a PlayStation 1 game, a VHS tape video, and swamp water. Indeed, the game tries to look like it came out in the late 90s. But still, the shadows and the lighting in general looked realistic. As realistic as possible for a game utilizing the PS1 style. All locations have a green-yellow filter. This is most noticeable in the city and least noticeable in the forest. This creates a sense of discomfort, some subtle wrongness in the seemingly mundane surroundings. The music also works well for the atmosphere. It very accurately conveys the mood of the current scene. The city soundtrack is made up of melancholic music, which is then replaced by relaxing radio in the car, followed by optimistic music during the walk in the woods, which ends and is followed by weird sounds. Now it's time to talk about the sad part. The game is short, too short. It takes about 40 minutes to complete it, and 10 of them are spent on driving on an almost straight road. I have beaten Desert Bus, but those drives in Paratopic made me tired. The gameplay consists mostly of walking, which is occasionally diluted with conversations and interactions with the environment. People complain about the underdeveloped storyline, but I don't really agree with that, and I'll talk more about it a little later. Still, it is presented in a rather ragged way, and despite the fact that this was done intentionally so the player could make his own version of what is happening from the scraps from the plot, a lot of people may not like it, and rightfully so. And now I'd like to explain the plot of the game, in its entirety and with spoilers. So, if you still want to play the game yourself, then turn off the video and go play the game, and then come back. If the spoilers don't scare you, keep watching. The game begins with an interrogation of the smuggler. A customs officer tells her that someone reported her smuggling tapes across the border, and after a series of humiliations from him, he leaves to watch the tapes. The narration shifts to the hitman, who is actually a hitwoman, who discusses the details of the forthcoming murder with her boss while sitting in a diner. It's mentioned that she needs to find all the evidence of something.
He's gonna rule the
After this conversation, the narration goes back to the smuggler, sitting in the same diner, but now she's talking to her boss, whose face is all floaty for some reason, about transporting the same tapes for which she will be detained later. He tells her that the tapes will be brought to her home, and her only job is to smuggle them across the border. Time travel, and now we're playing as the assassin again. We look at the title of the game, and then we go back to the smuggler. She returns home after talking to the boss. She's greeted by her neighbor, who says that she saw some people who came to the protagonist's room. After going into the room and looking at boxes of someone's meat, the smuggler opens a case with an interesting symbol on it, and then...
It's tape, isn't it?
The neighbor comes inside and starts begging for one videotape. She talks about how the old tape is worn out and shows nothing but noise. At the same time, she talks about being hungry and generally acts like a heroin addict who doesn't have enough money for a hit. If anything, that's her name in the game files. Chunky. She can be turned down because the A will find out, or you can give her one tape and watch the following scene. The recording is not shown to the player, but you can use magic tricks to detach the camera from the character and look at the TV screen. Next comes the car ride, which is not really plot-driven. We teleport to a gas station and talk to the cashier. We talk about milk, parking spaces and energy drinks, and when we try to buy them, the vending machine breaks down. It probably just happened for no reason. It was just bad luck. Or was it? You can also talk to the guy about the book he's reading. He's reading a book that tells why aliens are better than us. Their reasoning is that they can move across planets, so they are smarter than us, but at the same time aliens still haven't enslaved or colonized us, which makes them better. And by the way, the pyramids to the south of this place are dormant alien nests. And in general, the south attracts tourists. It is said that there were ancient shaman grounds which were used to communicate with beings from another world, perhaps the same aliens. Suddenly we find ourselves on the side of the road, next to a car, in the trunk of which lies the same suitcase but without the symbol. What happened to... yeah. Now we are playing as the hiker who likes to take pictures of birds. While walking through the woods, you can notice this shed, which you can enter and find a very strange cellar filled with some kind of equipment. You can turn on the electricity and then this video will be played.
I am working for around here. On behalf of what you ombudsman, I got to work with you on project. We're here for more alien in the team. To fight. We're only Haswell, you call the drop here. waarom is weten? Leg maar voor. Goed hoor. Toch? Your teeth was maybe like you only want to tell our for you one year. For the first verses to me, because you
In addition to this strange cellar, you can notice some broken trees and this leaning thing. Also in the distance you can see a concrete dome surrounded by towers and some kind of a concrete house. We go deep into the woods and then we start moving the tapes across the border again. After a very exciting ride, we return to the birdwatcher. Crumpled, rusty containers with the symbol piled up in random places. Security cameras, scary noises. Something is definitely not right. But we have to follow the birds. After walking up the path, you can see the same concrete house, some warehouse with some tower, and... who is it? How strange.
Hvis walkballen smooth. Hallo, hvorfor? Jeg kan små televisie. Og der ligger på morgen, og jeg smuk walkwagen.
We go back to the gas station. This time, from the dialogue with the cashier, we can learn about various interesting places in the area. About a big bowl of twine that came out of nowhere, about a milk store that sells milk, milk products and milk accessories, about a local park, about the Museum of Strange Things found after the power company was shut down, about the Ghost Carnival. You can also talk about the closed power company. According to the cashier, the power plant was given to the aliens as a gift. After the conversation, we go back to killing the smuggler's boss. We take the tape from the table, put it into the player and return. We take the tape from the table, put it into the player and return. We take the tape from the table, put it into the player and return to the detained smuggler. The final segment of the story is about the assassin who follows the same path as the hiker.
Didn't work before, what you regret? Well, let me maintenant pas de premièrement. Ik heb meer moeite. Girl, is he read? Ma'am, you welcome. That's good. Get your name. Web mà muốn apple mình biết gì? What was your name? Ma'am? Ma'am? Ma'am?
So what was that? What tapes, what aliens, what power company? Let's start with sorting out the order in which the events of the game took place. It all starts with the hiker walking into the wrong place and getting killed. Then the smuggler gets the tapes and heads out to transport them. The assassin then kills the smuggler's boss and probably finds information about the location related to the tapes and the person transporting them, which leads to their arrest. And in the end, she goes to that location and finds the body of the hiker. The tries don't refer to a particular character, because the objects in the front seat can change if you just look away, so it can be assumed that each of the characters went along these routes. The scenes at the gas station may not apply to the characters at all, since there is no hint of the identity of the player-controlled character whatsoever. It did not become easy to understand what this has to do with tapes, aliens and the power company. Next, I will try to analyze the information and make up some more or less adequate overview of the events. So, what happened to that power company? Judged by the video from the forest basement and by the strange structure, this company tried to conduct some kind of experiment to extract energy from some previously unknown source, which, as usual, went wrong and led to an incident as a result of which the aliens came to the Earth. All the aliens got to the Earth before the experiment and then helped with it, and its purpose was not energy extraction but something else. In any case, after the experiment, the power company closed down, at least officially. And unofficially it started distributing the alien-made tapes. These tapes alter people's bodies and cause a strong addiction. Let's recall the conversation with the cashier, in which he talked about how aliens don't colonize us. This is most likely not true, and they have some plan to dominate people. They work together with the power company to make it happen. However, there is a group or groups of people opposing it. You know, maybe I'm talking nonsense and making conclusions about the situation, as if the aliens are European colonizers, the people are Native Americans, and the tapes are whiskey. But the game just doesn't provide all the answers, and it doesn't even ask all the questions. Anyway, if you don't like my theory, you can shame me in the comments. Paratopic is a strange game about an alternative world which aliens are trying to take over using some strange alien tapes. It's a very small and quite unique indie game that's worth its money, with a 60% discount. The game lacks world development, which leaves you with a lot to guess yourself. And it's pretty sad that even if the developers are going to continue the story in a new game, it's not going to happen very soon, because at the moment they are busy developing a different game in a different setting. I need to conclude this video somehow. And remember, do not watch the tapes. This creates a sense of discomfort, some subtle wrongness. Why did I put this word here? Okay, I need to replace it with something pronounceable. Okay, let's look for synonyms, I guess. Oh. Crime, offense. Evil, guilt, lust, pride, sinfulness, sloth, vice. This creates a sense of discomfort, some subtle lust in the seemingly mundane surroundings.